Okay, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you're here today. So teacher friends, as you're joining us, if you could take the moment just to mute your microphones as we get started, there will be a moment that we will have times to stop, pause, and reflect is what we'll be doing as well, because these sessions should be all about you and should be all about that you can share your collective intelligence with the larger group, that we can connect brilliant ideas so that you have lots of things to take away from you or take away with you today. Please note, I have the entire link to the session that each of you will gain access to and that you can use with your teachers and staff in your school district, because my motto is together we are better. We don't know it all, so why not share what we do know that we know that's working and making a difference with kids. So I just wanted to share with you, my name is Naomi Harm. I'm joining you from beautiful Cave Creek, Arizona, about 40 miles just north of Phoenix, Arizona. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be 84 degrees here. It's a little windy, but I can't complain because we're actually below temps now this week, where normally we're close to 100 degrees. I am a very proud educator. I'm a women in leadership strategist and a specialist where I do a lot of coaching and mentoring of women in corporations, in K-12 schools, nationally and internationally, and a lot of coaching and mentoring with girls when it comes to computer science, math, and science. And that's where my specialty comes in, where I've been an educator for 25 years, and my whole focus area has been STEM as an innovation specialist. And I love math. I love science, I love to design, and I love engineering. So that's what I'm all about. But as I mentioned to you earlier, it's all about you today, the connected remote learning teacher. So that's kind of the new hat that we have on. You are going to be an incredible designer of Microsoft Office projects, but at the same time, how can we still engage those kids to really own their learning, be engaged with their learning, and really showcase their ownership? So because of our new dynamic situation that we're in, I've got lots of ideas to support you as a remote learning teacher and an administrator and as a specialist in your particular area. So our big learning outcomes today, I have a lot. I probably have a week's worth of items for you, but I want to give you the world so that you can have choice today. And remember, even though I have a lot of information for you, please note that you also will have these resources at the end of the presentation, and please focus on one. Just focus on one idea that truly inspires you, that you want to try with your students or your administrative team or teacher team tomorrow. Because the stronger you gain your skill set with, the more comfortable and confident to build your lifelong learning confidence. So we're going to investigate some really amazing resources and tools to empower choice amongst your kids of every ability level that we have out there. You're also going to share and remix all kinds of wonderful ideas of what you can do between the different Microsoft tools. But then I'm really hoping that these ideas that I share with you inspire you as much as they have inspired me as an educator when I work with students and teachers, but also to really enhance your instructional deliverables. And I want to make sure too that you have a chance to collaborate and reflect. So we're going to have pausing and processing moments throughout each main section, because I want to make sure that you have time to ask more questions, that you have time to process information, and that you can share your critical insight and brilliant ideas, because all of us have done different types of projects and approached it in a different strategy. So I want to make sure that your ideas are shared so we can learn from you. Okay, so teacher friends at this time, if you could mute your microphones just for a few minutes, and then we'll bring them back on, that you could have them on. So I have a teacher friend that may have something on that's actually just giving us a little bit of feedback in the background. So I appreciate your support for that. So I want to share with you at this time what the research says about student choice. And the research about student choice is really that our kids of today, which are known as Generation Z, I'll give you a little bit more information about that in a minute, they really want to be active and participate in their role in education. And they want to be so supportive in it that they want to create, they want to make, and they want to be part of the learning solution. It really, truly helps them increase their levels of personal engagement. And then it also, this level of engagement, when they feel empowered, it gives them autonomy, meaning that they are building that lifelong learning confidence. They feel that they have more to contribute. They have more confidence to share, to create and present or co-present or co-teach with another student friend. But they personally become satisfied in their overall academic performance, and which will build lifelong learning continuums for them, meaning that they will push themselves a little bit more. They'll have a little bit more drive. And then this self-confidence can also help them with their future roles of choosing when they go off into perhaps a college or university setting, or right into the workforce, or starting their own business. So I want to share this great visual as an infographic, in a way you can say, but this sketch note infographic, I want to give credit to Barbara Bray and Kathleen McClaskey, and they're really known for personalized learning. Now, these two amazing ladies, like I said, I want to give them a shout out, and Barbara is from California, but I love how they focus on the continuum of choice. Choice means we're meeting the child where they're at, their interest level, their cognitive ability level, their Lexile reading levels, and also how they learn best as a learner through different sensory modality techniques. These strategies can help us know how engaged they can be, but also moving from, is it a teacher-centered activity versus going full power to a learner-driven. So when you see that continuum, you know, the participant basically is that the teacher is providing the options. The teacher is giving the choices. And then kind of the participant just takes and makes. But if we can also kick it up a notch, as Emerald would say, let's help our kids be co-designers of learning. That allows them that even though we may have a collection of resources the kids can choose from, it also invites our children to the table to lean in, to provide input, to provide choice, and then help them be a creator of their learning menu, basically, of choices, and then that content that is designed. But if we give them a new hat to wear, we'll say, let's put on your new hat that you're going to be a teacher designer. And being a teacher designer and a student designer empowers co-collaboration amongst everyone in the classroom, meaning the student can choose the topic. They can also focus on the topic based on their interest and questions they have. But also, when they design that idea, it's about the bigger system here. It's about what can students do to improve our world for good? How can they contribute to be a solutionist? And how can they contribute to be something part of the bigger problem, like even what we're dealing with right now with this pandemic? We've had so many children have come through and have created some amazing coding designs and PPE, healthcare masks and shields that we never thought was possible, and coming up with solutions to streamline our productivity and efficiency. These kids are going to change our world, and we need them to invite them to be these designers and advocates, and also the entrepreneurs of our future that they will create. And then you could see the last two sections, how to be an advocate and entrepreneur. Did you know that 82% of our high school kids right now want to start or design their own business? Yes, that data is actually coming from the Speak Up Tomorrow's project, which is at tomorrows.org. Our kids want to be the creators of their futures. They want to design their own business, whether it's fashion, whether it's wearable technology, whether it's becoming the next great maker code. It can be all kinds of different systems as that. So anyway, I'm going to pause just a minute. So teacher friends, if you have your microphone on, if you could please mute that at this time, that would greatly appreciate our efforts, and we will get a moment to share. So thank you for that. If you'd like to know more about this continuum to help you with pacing, please go to the Barbara Bray Continuum of Choice link that will be embedded in this presentation. So you've got lots of research with this. Now, at this time, please feel free to turn your mic on. And in the back channel chat, I would like you to share with me, how do you allow for student choice and creative decision-making choices in your classroom or in your school district right now? And how does that help promote a self-directed learning opportunity for those children? So I'm going to pause so you can process about what was just shared. And what we're going to also do is that I'm going to go in the chat. I'm going to click on our chat field because I'd like to see what you are sharing. So again, the question is where we'll be at. How do you allow for student voice and creative decision-making choices in your classroom to promote a self-directed learning opportunities for your kids? And as we do that, I'm going to bring up so that what I can see is also the chat feature so that I can see what you're sharing. Okay, so thanks for doing that. Got some more teacher friends that joined us. Want to give a few more shout outs to our teachers coming in from Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Florida, California. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So it's wonderful already. Jeanette, thank you so much for sharing. You're giving students a choice of how they can show me their learning. Exactly. They need to be those designers and they can be proud to share. Choice is optimal, and I love it that you're giving unplugged, which means no tech necessarily meaning of high tech, but paper activity, design and creation, PowerPoint, Sway, excellent. Yes, and Stacy, all of this is going to be shared with your Makerspace projects that I have for you. I've just added it in the bottom. The entire Microsoft Choice Projects is there, and the continuum links are built into the slide deck. So thank you for asking. Okay. Yes, some of you say, you know what? I'm starting off on the front end. I'm going to do a UDL design. I'm going to front load it with a rubric. And then from there, students are part of that design making process of the rubric. And then they also can help themselves be owners of the learning of how they create those amazing projects. That is amazing. Okay. Learning menus. Yes. Reading logs, math choice menus. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Rubrics. Yes. Art, video, document, presentation, animations. Excellent. I love the freedom of choice. This is wonderful. If any of you actually have some design projects that you want to share with us, please add that link in the back channel chat, because you know what? Together we're better, and it's great to just exchange and swamp ideas today. This is great. Allow students to make decisions about topics. Excellent. This is great. Okay. Building curriculum based on inquiry. Love it. The drama process there too. Absolutely. Anything to promote the arts, but asking more questions and allowing kids to ask more questions. Choose your own learning projects. Oh, Margot would love to hear more about that. What did they look like? Was it based off of literature? Was it based off of STEM? Was it based on a passion-based learning project? Oh, I'd like more detail about that. So as your idea and designs are coming in, please glean those new insights from our teacher friends that are there. Okay, thanks for sharing, everyone. At any given time, also, if you want to share through a verbal response, please just say, hey, Naomi, I've got an idea. And I want to make sure that I give you that back so that you can share. Okay. Now, as we continue on, what I'm going to share with you now is a little bit about Generation Z before I get into some projects. But Generation Z provides for us the opportunity to understand who our kids are right now, basically from 3rd grade up into high school. And then these kids also are right now starting their first careers is where they're at. So this is a big generation. Our generation that's following this amazing generation is called Generation Alpha. Those are our littles. Those are the ones that are currently being born, and they've started at that age. They're about in 2nd grade, but they're going to be on that continuum up until about the year 2026, 27 is when they're born. So I have a whole segment on just Generation Alpha that's just going to blow your mind, because if you think Generation Z, that these kids learn, think, process, and apply differently, Generation Alpha, and as you can about imagine, Alpha is like the leader of a dog pack. They're going to be our leaders and really transform our futures. Now, let's take a little bit about this. These kiddos are born from 1996 to 2011. Again, they're about 9 years old to 25-year-old scope of kids that we have here and young adult learners. But these are the most diverse generation of children on our planet. And it is amazing how they think, how they learn from even our kids when we think about today from 10 years ago. They trust their peers more than they do us as teachers or elders or sometimes experts, and they go to their peers first for advice, and sometimes that's not the best. So we got to make sure that we are actively eavesdropping in on some of those conversations when we have those kids in the classroom, to making sure that the information that they're receiving is accurate, and that if something is misstated, how to help have that conversation around that to try to influence them, to show them that proof or that science-based factual information to guide them. Now, these kids, though, many of them are driven to change the world. And that's where that entrepreneurial spirit's coming in, and where that research base is coming in, where 82% of high school kids say they want to own their own and do their own startup business. So that's something to think about. And if you're not giving a choice project on business management, financial literacy, designing their own startup, that needs to be part of your curriculum, because that could be an amazing project of what students can create and make, and also be the creators of their futures. Now, the other thing is, these kids demand transparency. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I certainly have. When I've been in classrooms coaching with teachers, or even sitting down and having conversations with even these elementary, middle school, high school kids, they want to be part of the conversation. And they're very open to share almost anything with you. And sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, did I just hear what you said? But I put on my thinking cap, I process that information, and I try to redirect it with a very open-ended question, as not to judge them, but as to know what they're thinking and why they're thinking that way. But you'll see that even your kids at home, they want to be part of the conversation with mom, dad, grandparents, or a guardian, and they want to give you input. They want to give them their perspective, and they want their voice to be heard. Now, some other things how these kids learn best is they really like small, snackable, bite-sized chunks of information. And you know what? I, as a teacher of being in the education field for 25 years, and now wearing my teaching hat for this long, I have a parent hat that I have 3 amazing sons, and now I have grandchildren. And what's amazing with this is that I too need smaller, snackable, bite-sized chunks of information, because I get distracted too easy. I don't know about all of you, but I certainly do. But smaller is better here, and more small pieces of chunks for kids to actually read, listen, or watch, or do, and then apply. So smaller segments. But variety of choice is very important. Kids are determined to try to really find what interests them most. And if you can hook them with something that they're interested in the first 8 seconds, they will be with you and follow you with that entire lesson or activity. Because our Generation Z students know by 8 seconds if they like something or they don't like something. And that's why they're kind of almost known as the eye clicker generation. You get the TV on, they're going through channels, they click, 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 click. They see something quickly and they switch it. They know right away, I don't like that, or I do like this. So we've got to put our theater presence on too as educators, because we got to kind of have to do kind of a song and dance for them once in a while. But it's making us be more creative teachers. So doing and making and watching, demonstrating and having kids create so they can apply, to build confidence in what they're doing, so that they can feel more confident asking questions and feel safe in that learning environment to then lead and to discuss further and to team coach with other peers. You can see these pictures here. We've got a lot of kids that are like really into designing Minecraft as well. And that's what I absolutely love, because there's a whole strategy and logic behind it. And when you talk to kids that are building and creating with Minecraft, there's a whole story. It's a great way to check for information fluency, their reading comprehension, but how they're applying concept and knowledge to a topic. Our littles below, it's amazing on how all of our cooking has taken off since we've been at home too. I've always loved to cook, but now with a new cooking hat on for our kids at home, you can empower kids a lifelong skill of healthy eating and design habits. Now is the time to be the influencer of nutrition, more so than ever. So kids create their own show. They've been creating their own YouTube channels now of sharing their best practices of the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or if they're putting peanut butter in their celery sticks, putting the raisins on and looking like it's a little ant farm going over a log, you name it, kids are doing it right now. So help them be their entrepreneurs, even other YouTube channels, that they can become these amazing cooks. Okay, a few other things. This picture here showcases a printing press. I actually got to be on site in the Howard Schwamico School District, which is near Green Bay, Wisconsin. And they did a partnership program between students with differing abilities and high school coaches and mentors as students. And they created a print shop, and they were doing design on the computer. They would transfer that to silkscreen and a paint processing technique and mechanism. And then the kids would be selling these as a financial literacy course. It was the best partnership that I've seen in a long time. And it was so amazing to empower these children with differing abilities and building their confidence to help them prepare for life skills after their K through 12 futures that they had in that K through 12 environment, but knowing when they went off to get a job. But our kids, when I talk with them, especially even middle school, high school, they love collaborative group work. There are some that still want individual time, but our kids are social. So we need time that they can be in small groups, but then also in singleton moments too, that they can process and apply. But help them with these choices for personal learning pathways is very important. But passion-based interest projects is where it's at. Something connected to their world and their world now that they want to influence and they want to provide for. A few other things of how these kids learn best before I get into all these projects. They love designing and making challenges, we know. We have to put our teaching hat on and designer hat of allowing of what types of things can we create to co-collaborate with students of how to think like an entrepreneur and design like an engineer. That's what we need to focus on moving forward to ensure our kids are successful by 2030. We also need to know that our kids are very social. We need to support a social real world cause. And today is the day to make the change, because look at the pandemic we're in. Our kids can be the solutionists of tomorrow to ensure that these types of issues and our setbacks that we've had because of this pandemic, they can be the solutionists so that we can overcome this and be maybe that next vaccine that can be developed and co-created more quickly to help all of us, or how we stay safe, or how we use the different types of peripherals and things to help us so we stay safe and do not infect somebody else. But again, you'll see that these kids want to be active participants. They want to be leaders. And you know what? We as teachers sometimes need to sit back just a little bit. Let them share their opinions. Let them share their ideas and let them showcase to us of what they want to create and make. So it's for us giving up power. And for some of us that may be hard, but we need to let this happen. So at this time, let's pause and let's do a process break. Generation Z. What was one or two main interest points about Gen Z that really caught your attention and why? How they learn, how they would learn in a project-based learning environment. But give me some feedback. We'll just take just a quick minute. So what was one or two main interest points about Gen Z that really caught your attention and why in those past slides? I'm going to bring up at this time, I'm going to bring up the chat window and see what you are processing and then thinking as you record your information. So again, just one or two ideas. What did you find of interest that really caught your attention? And tell me your why. I want to hear your why. Yeah, Haley, thanks for joining us as well. Yeah, the 8 seconds. You know what? They say a goldfish has a 5-second attention span. So it goes from one side of the bowl to the other, one side and back and forth. If our kids are 8 seconds, it's like, oh my good heavens. So that essential anticipatory set for us in the classroom as when we start an online learning moment with them or when we have them face-to-face again, that 8 seconds is so critical. So that's really where we need to set that stage for learning and set that transparency hook to get them involved right away. Okay, excellent. Great ideas that are coming in. Yes, the transparency. Yeah, they want to be in the know of everything, and their voice is everything too. Okay. Yeah, they are the most diverse population on the planet, and it's going to keep transforming even when we get to Generation Alpha. And the generation after 2025, after the alphas go through, it's going to be Generation Beta. I can only imagine what those kiddos are going to be like, and they're not even born yet. It's like, oh my good heavens. Yeah, 82% our students want to be entrepreneurs and they want to make something. That is a very high rate. So that means, what does our teaching situation look like? What are your instructional approaches? What do you need to change? So that's something to think about. Yeah, technology is at the center of their social and learning culture, that's for sure. But making sure that we give appropriate brain-based balance, because too much information we know impacting that frontal lobe, there only can take about 7 to 10 minutes, they say right now. And if you get too much information coming in that frontal lobe, only so much will be transferred to that back quadrant of their brain for long-term memory. The rest is just going to go in one ear and out the other, and they're only going to just remember a little bit. So less is more. Even when we're presenting, less is more. And I'm modeling today, as you're seeing, that after every about third, fourth slide, We have a pause, a process, and a reflection moment. In your instructional approaches, this is a very good strategy to keep your kids engaged, especially with online learning, whether it's reflection, whether it's a quick draw, whether it's a quick write, whether it's a poll, but getting something to bring them back in to making sure that they're responsible for their learning. Okay, excellent. Great responses. Yeah, the real world connections. You know, we always think that we have to be the teachers of all the new content. I'd say no. Let them showcase their knowledge, especially when they've done some type of global project or their project-based learning. Have your kids share that information. Have them be the co-teacher for the day. Also bring in experts from the outside, and I've got some great solutions for that too. And some great read alouds that I've got from Kidlit TV, which is amazing. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, many of them want to work collaboratively, but there are some that want to work alone, and we need to respect that choice too. But think like an entrepreneur and design like an engineer. That's where we're going to get our kids as a hook, line, and sinker to be prepared for the year 2030. I am going to close out this window, but I'm going to have our slide deck on the back again for you. And what we'll have here is I'm going to continue on, but this is what it should look like. You've all had a box of chocolates sometimes in your life, right? But what creative choice can look like should be better than chocolate. That's what I say, and that's one of my models too. It has to be better than chocolate, and that will always engage them as that 8-second hook. So if your box of chocolates includes amazing instructional strategies, different types of techniques for kids to pause, process, and reflect, but also to show what they know, then you'll have a winning game plan for them. The other thing I'd like to share with you, here are some wonderful choice projects that you can provide for students or have students co-create with you. Remember, we want them to be co-creators, but we also want them to be entrepreneurs as part of this too. Oh, and bless you, someone just came on, so bless you. And what you can also see here is the slide deck that I have in the back channel chat. You have the master link. All of these links are linked in here of examples. I'm going to give you one here. This is one that I've created in a Word document. It's called Remote Learning, a Tic-Tac Choice Board. This tic-tac-toe choice board, what I do for kids is I usually ground it in a strong pedagogical approach that is based on literature or some type of story. Because our kids, when they hear a story that's read aloud to them, they're visualizing, and it's bringing about prior knowledge and prior memories, and that they're sharing these ideas. So as an example, this Kidlit board, the story is, what would you wish for? And when you have what would you wish for is a story. And then around that, when kids watch that 8-minute video clip that's actually read by the author and illustrator, who is so dynamic, by the way, then kids can have a choice. And I can deliver this tic-tac-toe board as a choice for all week long during remote learning. It includes science, technology, engineering, unplugged activities, and a lot to do with choice of designing your own adventure stories. So I purposely create my boards that it is multifaceted with different types of modalities of learning through sensory learning. It gives the kids choice, but it gives them accountability to design, create, and to celebrate their learning. So you can see what I have here. They can design brochures within Word. They can also create it within a PowerPoint presentation. They can create their own choose adventure stories that they can share with the student and have them go on different adventures. I've got Where's My Wish? Why not open up a beautiful Word doc, and our kids that have the opportunity to create their own Bitmojis, have them create all kinds of scenes from Bitmojis, and then you have to go and find your wish amongst your favorite. And it builds a stronger community amongst kids, because kids are trying to understand what that student is really passionate about learning. Other things, sketch and tell. We need to have tangibility. We need to have pens and pencils and crayons and colors and paint. We need that. 27% of our generation of students still need a pen or a pencil or some type of writing technique in order to process what they've heard or learned, to write it down, to apply it before it transfers to their long-term memory bank. So it's important that they have the tangibility. And why not have kids design a game board? You know, what fun is that? The design, thinking, and logic that goes into creating their own board game is incredible. It's logic, it's sequencing, it's strategy, it's risk-taking, but it also has to be to showcase and teach someone else how to play that game. Now, the other items that I have here, here's just one that I have, the tic-tac-toe. It's amazing what you can create. Now, over here on the other side, on the left side, I've got other ideas. You can design your own collaborative virtual field trips. So your adventure story could take you on all kinds of different type of virtual field trips. Why not have kids create a script and create and build their own digital sway story? So Microsoft Sway, what I love about that is so visually driven, and the kids just love it. Bring in that financial literacy spreadsheet part. Have kids plan for their business. We need to allow them more opportunities to do that. And also, like, if you're going to create your own startup, what's it going to be? But let's do a backwards design, and knowing that I've got to have a solid foundation of financial literacy, and let's build that spreadsheet accordingly. The other thing, I've got some other board games that are in here too, but I know we only have an hour today, but I want to give you the world, and these are all examples of where to start with. So we have a lot. Choose one thing today. Just choose one thing and run with it, and just have fun with it. Okay. Now, as we go on, I've got 2 more slides decks just like this, and I know it's a lot of text. I normally don't give you this much text, but this is all linked to just-in-time student choice Microsoft topics that you can create. There's Sketch and Draw, which I absolutely love. You can use Microsoft Paint. A lot of our kids will use that challenge. If you've got the mobile device, maybe you also want to help your kids with a drawing application. Many of our schools have one-to-ones that you have the mobile tablet versus that you have a full-fledged laptop. So because of that, it's so great that if you have the pens and things that you can create with, and the kids absolutely love that, especially for art and STEM focuses. Now, tomorrow, one of my sessions is on creating your own coloring book within Word. And I'm doing that as a project not only for my grandkids, but I'm also doing it for my godniece who's graduating from high school, to create something to support her social and emotionally when she goes through stressful times starting at the university level. And her main focus is computer science. And she's got a pretty big course load this next fall. So she loves to color, and that seems to relax her. So I'm taking digital photos of her and things that she likes. I put them through a pencil sketch program, and then it generates a pencil sketch, meaning then it becomes just a sketch where she can do the coloring. So that's tomorrow. So there's my little plug for that. But the other thing, do you know that you can design a game, and that you could have your students create their own tutorial, or they could coach and mentor them how to create that game? So this is another way that they could use this. You could also create personal service announcements. Did you know that there's an add-in called Project Service Automation that you can build in right into a spreadsheet and the other Microsoft products? And you could help kids promote their business, or start up a pop-up business, or support their global social cause. It's really kind of cool. So it keeps kids on track, the financial literacy piece, the literature and the written piece, and then to create a strong business model. And again, if you are into code, and I know some of you said that you are a Microsoft coding teacher using MakeCode or computer science, MakeCode has so many opportunities that gives the children the creation and making opportunity to build their own prototypes. And how about related to sensory technology for healthcare? Have kids build something that's wearable technology to help sense. Like if you get a fever, if you're not feeling well, how can you create that sensor for that? So these are great Microsoft Student Choice projects that I've seen in action, and I'm actually working with teachers nationwide. Okay, here's a few more, and then we'll bring in some pause moments. This particular template that I have here on the right side is coming from Slides Mania. If you do not know what Slides Mania is, you are missing the better than chocolate moments. Slides Media creates, first of all, it's an online site that provides templates that are PowerPoint and also for Google. But the ones that they have for PowerPoint are absolutely phenomenal, because if you want to create student choice projects, they've got templates of how you can set this up, of choice template activities. They've got it all there for you, that you can introduce for remote learning, the activities for the day, and then offering choice as choice boards. It's phenomenal. So this would be a great way for remote learning to get kids excited of a new activity every single day. So if you haven't seen it, tap into it. Again, better than chocolate moment. Okay, the other side that we have for you teacher friends, have you thought about a student virtual mentorship program? We've been online for weeks, right? Some of our kids are very good at presenting, and some of our kids are so good of listening to understand, and the empathy component that's built into their innate and internal mechanism is so wonderful that they could be a really good coach. They could be a mentor to help team teach students that may be struggling in this environment. Okay, other things, how about design a flow chart? Anything that can be visual literacy to help with step-by-step, create your new makerspace rotation stations, you name it. The more visual, the better. That's your hook, line, and sinker too for these kids. The visual comes first, then it's almost like the watch or the hearing, and then the text. So finding different chunks to complement with your kids. Other things, market a sketchnoting after school club. A lot of our kids like to draw and design and do sketchnoting and create their own graphic novels. What a better way for kids to create a visual event marketing flyer that they're part of that to showcase their interest in how they can coach other kids. Or best of all, how about gratitude cards? More than ever, let's bring back the art of our full empathy side in which that we can be thankful for others that are helping us this time of pandemic. Having kids create customized design gratitude cards, working with other kids to help custom design, help with reading, writing, spell check, grammar, and then also sending them to a local healthcare organization to show how proud you are, how respectful you are, and how we as a community can be stronger by sharing these amazing projects with others. Just a few more choices and then we'll have a pause and reflect. Here's something different. You may have seen this. Bitmoji is all the craze right now. And I too love the Bitmoji, but I love building Bitmoji content and activities with purpose. So again, understanding by design, using that almost like a backwards design. What is the purpose of why we want to use a Bitmoji? How are we going to empower kids with it as a visual literacy technique? But what's the choice for kids to dive deeper into content and ask more questions and be part of that learning continuum? I love the way that this teacher gave an overview that their choice selection of reading is within a choice bookshelf. And he created this as a bookshelf, kind of like he's in his side part of his school environment. And these links from a choice board activity can play back and have stories read to them, or take them to activities that are all around literacy as well. I have a lot of teachers that will build choice boards like this around their thematic unit, and they have 3 or 4 books that are read alouds, and then they have activities on the next level. So on the first level would be the read, on the next level would be the activity, and then the next level would be design and create that project based on your new information of learning. Okay, again, Bitmoji, just an example. Okay, teacher friends, so if any of you have your microphone on in the background, if you could mute it, that would help us because we're getting quite a bit of feedback coming in right now. Okay, thank you. My motto again, make activities extraordinary out of the everyday ordinary. These are teacher friend activities that you can see here that are examples of classrooms. Now, a lot of teachers think, oh, they're cute, they're fun. They are, but making sure that we're focused on what is the purpose. So the purpose is many of these activities are that kids can go in and click and interact with content to choose their own adventures in learning. So if you're taking more time to design your Bitmoji,
the top one.
Excuse me, if you have your microphone on, if you could mute it, that would be great. Thank you, friends. Like the bottom one that we have at the very bottom, these are teachers that are co-teachers in a classroom. So they had a higher population of children with differing abilities. They wanted to make sure that when they shared out their remote learning with the children, that each paraprofessional and each teacher was represented with the speech pathologist. And what was nice about this is when you click on those particular teacher friends in that picture from our slide deck, the teachers have a message to greet those children to feel welcomed, but then provide them an activity, but then also can say it and repeat it in a new way that a child can process it if the student doesn't understand the directions the first time, that they can hear it a second time and then possibly a third time. So it's a teaching technique to help all kids get involved, to hear it and to see it multiple ways. So teacher friends, with those ideas we just shared, 3 full pages of projects that not only have I worked with, I've co-created with teachers, but we also have Bitmoji projects of choice to do the visual literacy focus. What are 1 or 2 Microsoft Choice activities you would be willing to try this next week? Just 1 or 2 with your students, and please tell me why. So I'll leave the question up here for a moment. So what are 1 or 2 Microsoft Choice activities that you would be willing to try with your students, and tell me why? And as you're doing that, I'm going to bring up our chat so that I can see the great reflections that you'll be responding to. So once again, if you could share what are even one idea, what Microsoft Choice project that we just showcased would you be willing to try with your students, and why? Remember, less is more. Okay, we've got some ideas coming in. Oh, and Wendy's also asked a question, so if anybody could help Wendy in the background, how are high school teachers providing choice? I've seen actually a lot of high school teachers too, and I've got some more coming up for you, Wendy, for just high school. I've got lots of teachers still finding ways to do read alouds, because we're finding the read alouds for our kids right now, even with different Lexile abilities, kids can process at a higher level and retain information if they hear it from someone, and then apply a choice activity of design, creation, based on the concept of the literature that's read. Yeah, the choice reading collection, I think so too. Anytime you can do read alouds. I mentioned earlier, teacher friends, Kid Lit TV. Oh my gosh, a better than chocolate moment. They've got books that are shared by the authors and illustrators that are for elementary, middle school, and high school, but mostly elementary and middle. I love the high school ones too, because it really has books that are read back as read alouds and puts high school students in the character part of the story. They're really good. Okay, yep, the Bitmojis. Anything for visual literacy, but make sure to plan with purpose, intention, and engagement for kids, but making sure that you're meeting the needs of all children with different abilities. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is. I love it that too, Megan, you made that instant connection. When you do a choice board, you've got it's all in one place. You've got reading options to meet the different ability of kids and their interest levels. You've got activity options and choice, and built-in assessment, because kids can read, reflect, write, create, and then showcase. Absolutely. Yeah. And today's your last day of school too, so presentation options galore, isn't it? Wow. Okay, choice boards, yes. Choice boards have been around, and learning menus have been around for a long time, but now's our time to put this new creative spin on it. It's actually a wonderful time to be in education. We can now recreate education the way that we want it to look and be totally re-energized with the possibilities of learning. Yeah, game board design. Oh, I'm glad. Elise, I've got a game board main concept for you coming up that you're gonna just love. Yeah, comic strips, absolutely. Slides Mania, oh, I tell you friends, you're gonna have so much choice opportunity there. They're doing the work for you, and you just put your content in. Your kids are gonna be eating out of your hands. They're gonna just love it. Okay, let's get back to the other side. Thanks everybody for sharing your amazing, amazing ideas of reflection. I so appreciate you today. As we continue on, I want to give you some interactive websites and choices that can be built into these activities. So prior to this, I gave you 3 full slides of over 15 different choice activities that you can tap into and use tomorrow. But what we have here, I also have more ideas that you can build into your choice board activities. Now, if you haven't seen this, this has been around for a very long time. Mr. Birdseed is the creator. It's called the Differentiator. I love this tool because it's based on blooms. And underneath the title of the Differentiator, what you also have here is basically like a sentence strip where it says, students will judge the ethics of the blank of what you can put into the main concept using a textbook and create an essay in groups of 3. So what this is that this is a Bloom's taxonomy lesson designer all around amazing learning outcomes for kids. It's based on identifying a thinking skill, focused on a content area, particular resources that they have at home right now that you can also add, a product that they create, and if kids work in a singleton activity, I call them a dynamic duo, a transforming trio, or an amazing quad. So this gives you great ideas to create and differentiate different strategies. And if you're in the beginning stages of designing activities like this might help you with first designing, then empower the kids next to design their own amazing learning adventure with this tool. So anyway, again, it's free, it's wonderful. It's a great way to meet the needs of every one of your diverse learning children in your classroom. Now, Elise, I saw in the background chat, thank you so much for bringing this up. I fell in love with this. I came across this about 2 months ago, and it's like, oh, if I could only be back in the classroom with a bunch of kids, let's do this. This is about having students design their own math games. And what's so cool about this is that this is a K through 12 focus. So there's grade ranges for every single group. So it's like K through 3, I think it's like 4 through 6, and then a 7 through 9, and then 10 through 12. But what's so cool about this is that kids actually have to create a game based on how to solve a problem. So it's based on research, it's based on passion-based projects, it's based on solving a problem, it's contributing to make our world a better place to live, and it's based on strategy to help kids actively listen to actively listen to understand, to build that empathy component as a design thinking process. So this Gameathon Design Challenge is open through June 30th. So we still have time here. And there's a Gameathon starter kit. I have a lot of parents that I've worked with that are already doing this with just their groups of kids of their own children at home, and they're submitting their games. So this is a lot of fun. And again, it doesn't have to involve the tech. The only thing is submitting the final game. Kids can design and create everything with paper-based products and everything, or they can design in your Microsoft Office environment if they want to do that board game design too. Here are some other things. Outdoor scavenger hunts. Let's get our kids outside in a safe area that they can still social distance. You can create simple checklists, especially with Word as well, with scavenger hunts for kids. But this particular area, the Vivify, I've also included in here. There are all kinds of outdoor scavenger hunts for elementary, middle school, and high school, and it encompasses choice, passion-based learning projects, and a big focus on STEM. So if you haven't tapped into this area, this will keep you busy all summer long, but make it a family event too. What fun. If you haven't tapped into this particular supportive site, this is called Wide Open School, and boy, is this an amazing teacher friend. It's a buddy system, basically. It's helping you gain new insight and new ideas of how to create choice projects, but in small, tangible, snackable content chunks. And it's all about, too, that if you want something really connected with kids at home, maybe it's focusing on a live event that you want to bring an expert in. Or maybe it's focusing on our children that are speaking another language rather than English first. What can we do to incorporate more of that type of focus to help our kids with the big picture and more visual literacy-based learning? How about learning differences? How about meeting our kids where they're at and allowing them to have choice based on maybe using the concept piece that they first read is at a different Lexile level reading, and then for a different group over here, we level it up or we change that modification. But I love it because it's great brain-based balance here. It includes movement, it includes relaxation techniques, it includes STEM focus, social studies, real world, everything. This is like the cherry on top of that beautiful sundae. I'm not kidding. It's all in one place and I just love it. Here was my other one that I mentioned earlier. This is K through 12. They have a large section for elementary, middle school, and they have a smaller section for high school. But I work a lot, when I work with middle schools, we do a lot still with story maps and helping kids understand character, plot, setting, because we're checking for reading comprehension, fluency, helping kids create and choose their own adventure stories of why we need to include that component of that story at a given time. This story map segment here is what we have. She shares back like in an 8-minute video clip, the importance of why of story maps and what she does as an author. And man, she does such a great job. So this is another component that you could create a choice board in the middle, all about story maps. And then she empowers kids to write their own stories about a self-driving car, right? How relevant is that right now because of where our world is going? So the concepts here are all about what is taking place in today's world. So this is an excellent one. You could use this for upper elementary, still would be good for middle school. Like I said, that's what it says. It's like for 8th grade, but I'm assuming your high school kids will love this. She's animated and she's fun when she talks and shares. Here's a few others if you haven't seen these. Scholastic has a whole at-home daily challenge section, and this is really focused. Yep.
Teams from the web.
Yep. So Pam, I can see that you're talking in the background. If you could mute your microphone, we would appreciate that. Thanks, Pam. The Scholastic at Home Daily Challenges, what you'll see, this is for 4th through 8th grade, and this encompasses reading, writing, math, and science, all kinds of wonderful stay-at-home activities, and then the Designer Maker Creator Challenge. So different levels that you can pick and choose, you can take and make them into choice board activities. So again, it's giving you things to start with, so you don't have to start at ground zero. Choose a template, and then go from there and add these great activities that are in here. Okay, here's one on mindsets. I love this one. This is for upper elementary through actually high school. And these are design challenges from mindsets that it's even like the bouncy ball one. It says, you're a junior scientist, finish experiments to refine the design of your prototype ball for the upcoming New York Toy Fair. Make the bounciest ball ever. I mean, think about that challenge. What fun is that? How about if you want to design your own logo? You are going to own your own gourmet restaurant, and you need to design a logo to help market for the grand opening of your new restaurant after the pandemic. You know, make it relevant to them. How safe is everybody going to be? But what is going to be on that gourmet menu options for those kids? How to become a real estate expert, right? And the real estate's all changed, right? Because it means like a lot of people now are going into some homes that are being sold, and now it's going to be a touchless environment. And how do I get in and do a walkthrough when no one else is there to make sure that we're social distancing safely? You know, it's put a whole new spin on things. How about where to work? How about your future tech career? We also know with all of these wonderful devices we have, you know, our phones to everything that we have, AI or artificial intelligence is the new normal for us. It's going to help us be proactive now of how we create and make and how we interact with our world, especially if there's more times that we have to be at home. What does that AI technology look like for when we shop, when we bank, when we interact with people, or the time that we're going to have robotic companions in our homes? And for when I turn the year of maybe 80, I have a robotic companion in my home to help take care of me so I don't have to be in a nursing home. That is going to be an actual reality forthcoming, people. That's what's going to be happening. Okay, here's some other designer challenges, and I know we've got about 8 minutes left. So Instructables, if you have not seen this site, this is a great site to inspire you to build in your choices for what you can do on your design challenges with your Microsoft Office suite of tools. Instructables is a one-stop shop that you design, you create, and kids can tinker. You can even upload your design and your maker challenge. Now, I taught a makey class this last month for Q. We had some amazing designs in here from our teacher friends that got their Makey Maker Invention Boss certification. Their final requirement to earn their certification, they created their own Makey challenge and their design concept, and then they uploaded it into Instructables, because if you do a search in Instructables and search for Makey, which is a coding microchipped board that works with Scratch and that you can connect to make it a sensor system to make new projects work. And because of that, teachers were creating all kinds of design game challenges, from health and fitness awareness to doing electronic buzzers and sensors, checkout boards. We even had one lady that created when her dog would step on the conductive piece of the tinfoil, it basically triggered the camera to activate on her computer, and she could take a picture of the dog or which dog it was, because one of the dogs was constantly eating the kitty food and they couldn't figure out who it was. So she created a contraption like that. Oh, she was just amazing, educator from Kentucky. So as part of this, this is where kids love to see what's going on. They're quick videos. They have step-by-step, small snackable chunks, and there's designer challenges all based on our world today. So this again, better than chocolate moment. A few other things, if you're really into getting to the next level, computer science, STEM, science, technology, engineering, the arts or artificial intelligence, or agriculture and mathematics, this is a one-stop shop too. I like this particular site called Curiosity Machine because these work with major corporations and educational organizations of design challenges of helping our students be designers of their futures. And this is all based on code and creating and making, even with unplugged activities, but then working with experts in the field. And this is a great area for getting kids into, and safe area. So at this time, what was one website that caught your attention that you're willing to introduce to your students to engage in their personalized learning interest? So remember, we shared the Curiosity Machine, we did Instructables, we had Mindsets, we had Scholastic, we had Kidlet TV stories, we had Wide Open School. Which one really interests you? What one would you like to tap into a little bit further? So just take a moment and mention it. And I just have one part of our end of our closing yet for you of some design concepts. Let me just see what you're sharing so I can make sure that you are getting time to process, to think and make. Excellent. I was just trying to see what kind of rose to the top. Yeah, the mindsets are amazing. Absolutely. Wide Open School. Yes, absolutely too. Yep. Curiosity Machine. Yeah, it's going to jumpstart your STEM program. Excellent. You wrote down them all, Samantha. You're like me. It's like, give me more, give me more. It's like that box of chocolates. You want them all, right? Okay. Yeah, the Vivify. The Vivify have all the choice boards set up at STEM challenges and by grade level and ability level of kids. You're going to love that, Patience. Okay. Excellent. Let me close out of this and bring you back, teacher friends. Okay. Here are some next steps in our Students for Future Careers. So if you are impacting our wonderful and dynamic high school kids, this is a place for you to take and share. Even if you're an elementary teacher, please share these with your high school teachers. I think you'll really like this. I came across this site that was shared through NAF, the National Education Foundation that I work with, that works just with all high school kids. And we're always looking, what's the best place for kids to think, ponder, reflect, and connect with a mentor that can help us, and particularly of helping kids design their futures. This is called Invest in What Is Next. And this really helps our kids explore career options based even right now on the pandemic and how to prepare for a career of 2030. But then how do I keep on that learning continuum to keep educating myself as a young adult through my total career? It helps with budgeting for your future and also crafting and evaluating a plan and coming back to it. So it's kind of like an interactive vision board in a way, but it's very driven of helping our high school kids, help them with narrowing a focus so they're not so overwhelmed, but it's based on passion of what they're interested in. We need more opportunities like this because I've talked with a lot of juniors and seniors, and I even gave 2 commencement speeches already this month. And talking with high school kids, they even say, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have lots of interests, but I haven't narrowed it. And I got accepted into 3 colleges, and I didn't even respond yet back to them because I don't know what's going to happen. So in this time of uncertainty, especially for our Gen Z kids, we need to help them feel that they are part of the investment of their futures and to help guide them with more of a little bit of a structured pathway so that they know they have choice, but they have options. Career Village is coming out of San Francisco, California. I do a lot of mentoring in here. And what this is an online community for teachers and students to ask scientists, neurosurgeons, healthcare workers. It can be Dell computers, HP computers, it can be Intel, it can be Apple. There's women in leadership like I'm in here. Kids are asking questions about their futures and what courses they should take, or what are some focused areas that if they're interested in right now into computer science, but with fashion design, what career opportunities are out there right now for our girls and boys in that same career. So again, Career Village is going to be your friend to really get kids excited and focused on their careers. If you haven't seen Coursera courses, there's a lot out there right now for high schools. My godniece that I mentioned earlier in Iowa, they didn't do a learning continuum after the pandemic happened. The kids were kind of just on their own because they couldn't meet the needs of all the special needs students, so they couldn't offer anything, they said. Due to that, we quickly pulled together some resources for her, and she kind of knew what was out there already. So she's taking lots of courses on here before she starts at Iowa State in the fall. So it's helping her be better planned with taking online courses to be better planned when they're full online in the fall, so she doesn't miss a beat. Some other things, I've designed and created an innovative blended learning ideas book, and this is created in Book Creator. I've got all kinds of ideas that are in here. More are being added each week. I'm trying to keep up with it as much as I can. I got, I think, like 25 pages. I've got a next session coming because I know Carolyn is here from Colorado. We're going to be adding her e-learning for eNet courses that will be in here, some great courses that Colorado has and surrounding states. So I wanted to make sure that if you're looking for courses for you as a teacher to take, if you're looking for just-in-time design ideas of best practices of remote teaching and learning, I have it here. But I've been working with a lot of high schools around the country because their internships all of a sudden got closed down or got canceled. I have a great collection here of online internships working through Google, Fortune 1000 companies, Intel, Microsoft, NAF, and NASA internships. And working with those companies, I've gotten permission to share them here with you. So tap into that because we can't give up on our kids. We've just got to open the doorway of opportunity to help them know where these internships are so they can continue to learn and to really focus on their futures of where they're going to be at. Okay, so just as a follow-up, I can stay online to answer any questions. This is my contact information. This is the presentation link, once again, that I've added in the back channel chat, and I'll put it in the back channel chat one more time so that you have access to it. But it is tinyurl.com/ and it is uppercase MS choice projects. So if you'd like to turn on your microphones, ask any questions that you'd like, I'd be glad to help you. And once again, I want to say thanks to Slides Mania for help for my design layout to pretty up my slides. Basically, it's a template I used and then I modified. So I'm going to stop sharing at this time. And if any of you have any questions, I would love to learn with you or any insights of what you'd like to talk about. Okay, I see the chat coming in. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, I've got a friend that said, can you get back to the screen? Okay, so if you'd like for me to share that again, I can do that, not a problem. Let me go back in here. See if it'll let me get back in there. Yes, you'd like that, yep, the link in the chat as well. Let me try to get back up there for you. Okay, here it is again. I've added that link in there. I'm going to make sure that I can see the question somebody asked if you get back to the slides. How can you access your slides in the recording? Teacher friends, you know what's amazing, Cheryl? Thank you so much for reminding me of that. I've just put my entire slide deck in the bottom of that back channel chat. The wonderful Q organization and Microsoft will be adding these particular recordings onto the Microsoft Q page. And because of that, it will be archived there. I've been recording this session, then as soon as I'm done, I will finish this up and then I take that recording and then it will be placed on there. So just give it probably about 48 hours that you can ensure that you will get that as well. Okay, wonderful. Anytime you can reach back out to me, I have no problem at all with that. Like I said, together we're better. Let's brainstorm ideas and let's solve some of these world challenges that we're having in K through 12 and let's make it better for our kids. Oh, question from Carrie. What is the biggest challenge you see as getting teachers and administrators to see the benefits of offering choice? What is the biggest number one selling point that you think that could be the light bulb to go on for those educators that don't want you to change? Hey, that's a big question, but you know what? The research, I would say more so than anything, in the slide deck that I mentioned about Gen Z, I have the supportive research articles there of the why and how Gen Z and Alpha students learn. And that research is data proven. The data points help influence administrators to make change. And when we want to recreate our education right now, it needs to be on choice, it needs to be on passion-based projects, and it needs to be where students are owning their learning and they are the creators of their futures. And to get the buy-in from that, we are facing a world pandemic right now, right? And we are rewriting history as education as we know it. And because of that, we know that some of us are so behind with remote learning and there is a huge digital divide. But what the differentiator is to maintain the engagement of kids It has to be passion-based, it has to be project-based, and it has to be where they feel that they're part of the learning to influence the change in our world. And those statistics, and Microsoft also has those statistics, especially too, where STEM is so important that we need to mentor and guide our girls, especially with equity and access to learning experiences, because that's where the research and the Microsoft Office, I can get you that document too about that, where that's the game changer in order for our kids to be fluent, to comprehend what's expected of them, and to actually fill those jobs. Otherwise, we are going to have technology and coding jobs that are going to be so open that nobody's going to be able to fill them. Also, a coding background with computer science is essential. When we are looking ahead, and when I talk to major corporations, the differentiator of hiring students in today's world, they are looking also to be fluent in another language, and they're looking for a coding and computer science background, because all jobs in the new future by 2030 will have some type of coding aspect. So we need exposure now to our kids, and it has to start in elementary, build through middle school, and be proficient by the time that they're in high school. But coding projects can be passion-based projects. It's not just sitting and programming all day. It's what can we do to create a code that's going to influence and make our world, our healthcare, our education system 10 times better. So I hope I answered your case with that. Love to come in and talk with your administrators about your why, Carrie. Would even just come in and we'll have the conversation, not a problem. Or if you need more research, I'm willing to share the data with you. Okay, wonderful.
Naomi, it's Lisa. I just wanted to compliment you so greatly on this. Has been tremendous. You know, I am a consultant, but now really my active work is as a school board member of a district of 8,600 K-8 students.
Oh
And
my.
these are the things, yes, these are the things that our teachers are hungry for, but they're not as equipped as I would want them to be as a school board member to do this. You know, you and I have been in this environment for years, you know, dare I say it, over a decade.
Yes.
But our teachers that are with us typically are not, and even the younger ones are not. So I just want to thank you so much for this powerful presentation, and I'm looking forward to being able to share it. I share a lot of this stuff on Instagram with my teachers. I still think like a principal, even though I'm a school board member. So Naomi, just from the bottom of my heart, this was amazing. And lastly, how do we get a hold of you?
So how you can get a hold of me with my slide deck. Let me see if I can bring that back up again, if I can. I did not share at the very end, but if I bring back our slide deck again, the quickest way that you can get a hold of me, I'll even put it in the back channel chat here. My Twitter handle is just @Naomi Harm. My email is naomi@naomiharm.org. And my website, that if you'd like to go there, is just naomiharm.org. And I work with a tremendous team of mostly women master educators, but I do have some dynamic gentlemen friends on my team too. And I work with they're full-time teachers, but they work for me part-time, that we can get to everybody, because we truly believe in the game changer of choice and passion-based projects. And we know that's where our education system needs to be at based on the research of where we're at. And we just love to have the conversation with any one of you. So please follow up anytime. Continue to come back to the Microsoft Q page as well. Tomorrow I have another presentation, as I mentioned, on even coloring book designs, of how to create that, but focusing on social emotional learning when it comes to that. All of these presentations with everybody involved in this dynamic project, our whole focus is on the best pedagogical practices that we know, that we've actually been in the crux with, you could say, but at the same time with modeling this with teachers, we know it's a game changer. And it's not about the tech, it's about the pedagogical approach and the brain-based learning. That's what we need. We need that influence of how our kids learn, how they think, and how we can meet them to make sure they have a choice and voice in their learning. Okay. If you have any further questions, please feel free to turn your mics on. I can still be here for a few more minutes if you would like. In case I missed anything. Okay. Yeah, Fred, best of luck in Nevada. And if I hear anything, Fred, I will also send you some computer science leads your way. You're only a state away. Thank you, everyone. And make sure that you find appropriate balance for yourself, and make sure to put the tech down at given times, but prioritize and always please put your family first. Okay. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for all you do. I really appreciate you joining today. And thanks for teaching me as well.